Crystal. She comes to us. I'll give you a little more detail because you haven't heard from Crystal before. So she comes to us from a place of curiosity and learning. And she was born and raised Mormon, and her school years had her exploring the religions of friends and wondering why people preached there was only one true religion. She witnessed how each church taught similar things with slightly different language and intention. So this set her on a path of curiosity and inclusion of everyone, regardless of affiliation and beliefs. Today, she has traded the religion of her childhood for a deep spirituality that guides each aspect of her life. She seeks to understand those around her and give them the same grace she would seek for herself. As a minister and teacher, she strives to help people find authentic connections and a self-awareness of their state of being, thus trading perceived reality for truth. So I've had the privilege of getting to know Crystal over the last several months, and I'm thrilled to introduce her to the Living Water community as a speaker. So please welcome Reverend Crystal Jakowski.
Hi, thank you so much. I forgot what I wrote for my intro, and I was like, I'm just going to sit in that for a minute. That's really cool. And it absolutely is true, every word of it. So thank you so much for letting me join you today. Thank you for letting me be a part of your community in Living Waters. So today, this topic is embracing our heritage while aligning with our posterity, like what we're giving to those who come after us. This time of year is an amazing opportunity for all of us to honor those who have contributed to who we are right here, right now. But it's also a chance for us to meditate on how we are, what we are leaving for those who are moving forward with us and after us. So let's dive in together. I absolutely love this time of year. It it brings me so much joy. The reminder that change can be beautiful, how leaves on trees completely shift from the vibrant green to the yellows and the oranges and the browns. And then the trees show us that it can be beautiful to let go of those things that don't serve us, that are not supporting us, and how perfect it is to move into a state of restfulness and recuperation. It is such a gift this time of year and all of the wonderful messages that it has for us. This earth that we live on that cradles us and reminds us that there is change and there is shifting and always, always moving forward in time. It's fantastic. Dia de los Muertos is a celebration for those who have gone before, and we are right there. We are, I mean, it's coming up, and it's really, I love this time. In the spirit of gratitude, I find Dia de los Muertos lets me reflect back on the traits and the gifts that the people have given me, not just my family, but the actual qualities. For example, when I was a kid, I was so frustrated. My mom would make desserts and treats, and then she would take them to other people. And us kids would only get a little bit. And I was always just, I wanted those treats. It wasn't until later in life when I was transposing my grandmother's journals, and I found that my grandmother had a list of all of the birthdays in her church, and she would bake a cake for each person, and then she would deliver it to that person. So my mom learned from her mom about baking treats and giving them to people, but it was more than about baking treats. It was about compassion. It was about service. It was about unity and coming together. It was about showing your love and care for another person by baking a cake. Now, as a kid, I really was frustrated with that. As an adult, I've kind of adopted it. And I love to bake cookies for the neighbor that just moves in. Or when somebody's sick and not doing well, I love to bake them a little something and take it to them Now I see the gift in that trait. And I love that trait, that gift of serving other people, of helping other people. On my dad's side, when I was in high school, my dad managed a 44 apartment complex, which means there was a lot of lawn, there were a lot of stairs, and we got to do sprinklers and we got to work, whether we were mowing or shoveling snow, whatever that was. My dad taught me this huge work ethic. Growing up, again, sometimes it was frustrating and you were just like, I am so tired of working. But you look further back through Dia de los Muertos and you see that my grandparents instilled that same beautiful work ethic in him that he instilled in me. It is this characteristic that if something needs to get done, let's do it. Let's get in there. Let's get it done. I do not care if my hands get really filthy, dirty, because I'm accomplishing something. And in that, I may be serving people, which means that I am marrying the traits that were given to me from both sides of my family, right? It's this beautiful coming together, coalescence of the traits and the characteristics of those people who have come before us and given it to us now. But it's not just it's not just our blood relatives. My husband will talk about this couple, Dee and Don. Dee and Don lived right next door to him. And when he was younger, if he needed a friend to play with because he was an only child, he would go next door and he would hang out with Dee and Don. And they were an older grandparent couple. And Don would spend time in the garage with him and taught him a little bit about woodworking and shaving. He taught him about compassion. He taught him about teaching someone younger than you or someone older than you how to do something. And that is a quality that my husband now uses with other kids and with our grandkids and with our own children. They weren't blood relatives. Sometimes people in our lives affect us so beautifully and so profoundly that we learn these traits and we carry those forward and we are able to pass on this gift so that it continues to go, it continues to grow. Looking back with the Day of the Dead, looking back at posterity and looking forward at what I'm also giving to my kids, I find myself filled with gratitude. I'm filled with gratitude of the knowledge that I've received and the growth that has come from that. As a kid, I didn't love mowing the lawn. And yet, what did I learn from that? How did I grow from that tiny bit of adversity growing up, right? Fall is a time to squirrel away. Now, squirreling away is when you pull in all those nuts and you're setting it up so that you can rest for the winter. You're finishing up some loose ends. You're making sure that you can then hibernate and take time off. So I gather in the gratitude. Right now, I'm gathering in the gratitude of the gifts, the gratitude of those traits and the connections that I have to all of those people because they were in my life, because they were a part of my life, whether they are past and not with us or living right here and right now. Both of them work because the winter can be a challenge. It can be darker. I mean, we have less daylight, right? The days are getting shorter. But in the same aspect, that gratitude can help lift us up and help buoy us up as we move through this quietness and this calmness that is coming forward. I got to figure out where I'm at. So, with the gratitude of looking back and the positive traits that I'm grateful that I've received, I also end up asking, what am I paying forward? How am I serving humanity? How am I serving the people around me? And there's a conversation that ironically, my husband Jay and I have been into a lot this week. I think that that question can get a little too big. We wonder, am I doing enough? serving humanity, serving people around me? What am I leaving for other people to have? How am I being important in other people's lives? And I think that it can become a little bit of an existential crisis. Enough is a nebulous statement. Am I enough? My question to you would be, by whose definition are you seeking to be enough? Are you seeking to be enough by societal's definition? Because I don't think they've figured out what that definition is yet. Or are you seeking for your own definition? Have you actually defined what enough is for you? I would propose to you that the only definition of enough that truly counts and truly matters is the definition of the divine. The definition of that beautifully expansive, all-knowing, loving energy to which each and every one of us is connected. In John, Jesus says that he is in his Father and his Father is in him. But then he goes on and says that he is in us and we are in him. Every Sunday, we talk about the fact that we are connected to that divine being, to God, to this energetic gift. If we're in Christ and Christ in us and God is in Christ, then we are in Christ. We are in God and God is in us. So isn't that the best definition of enough? Does he feel that I am enough giving to those around me in being his disciple, in being a representative of him here on this earth now? I want you to go back to the first part that I mentioned, which was that all of these things from my grandparents that have come down to me and that are gifts to me, all these traits that I have learned, that I have been given. You realize that if you are in God and he is in you, then every one of those traits that you think of him as possessing is a trait that you too possess. Just think about that for a moment. Patience. How much patience did he have as he went through life? Long suffering, strength, kindness. I take that a step further and I think about self-love. Did you ever hear? Have you ever heard of Christ saying, I'm not enough? I don't love myself. He is the ultimate example of self-love and self-awareness. And he gave that love and that self-awareness to everyone around him, recognizing that this is me and I am a part of God. And because of that, I am able to be a gift and a kindness to everyone else because his traits are my traits and my traits are your traits. I recognize you. I see you because you are a part of me. Just like I am a part of you and we are all a part of him. Kind of changes the narrative, doesn't it? From I've got my family's traits and the traits of people around me to I've got divine traits. You possess every single one of those qualities. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I can feel inadequate or I'll forget the divinity within. Anyone else ever been there, done that? It's like, oh crap. Ironically, this is another conversation that Jay and I have been having this week. He totally turned everything on its head. And I absolutely love this. And I'm excited to share it with you. My husband's uncle is a gamer, but not in the video games or the games on your phone kind of way. He looks at life as a game. So to him, it's the game of being a good husband. It's the game of being a good dad. It's the game of being the best at his job that he can possibly be. It's the game of connecting with other people. How many people can I connect so that I can make so many things happen and be beautiful? Now, I'm a gamer too, and I used to be super competitive, like annoyingly competitive. I was a really bad winner. I was a really bad loser. I was like in your face because I'm winning and stomping. I used to be really, really bad and really competitive. But I love this concept because I'm a gamer, because I can look at this, I can say, all right, so I'm going to play a game of kindness. I can wake up in the morning and I can say, what game am I playing today? I want to be the best me I can be. I want to be the best iteration of a godlike person here on earth that I can possibly be. That's my game. And you know what's really cool about that game? The only person I'm competing against is myself. There's no win or lose in this thing where everyone else loses. It's literally against me. It's how did I do today on my game? Did I win that game? So when I'm feeling down and upset, when I'm feeling less than, I can pause and say, okay, how am I doing at this game? I'm not doing so hot. Okay. So how do I want to shift that? How do I want to change that? How do I want to make it a little bit better? Instead of sitting in the sadness and the fear or judging or assuming or taking something that somebody said personally, I can pause and say, how do I want to play this game? How do I want to walk away from this a winner and know that I did the best that I could possibly do? It's crazy for me how the idea of Dia de los Muertos and the people on this earth and the people who have gone before set me on this path of recognizing my connection to the divine and the qualities within me that are within him. So I would encourage you to write down those qualities. My mom was down. She was really struggling one day. And I said, I was asking her what's going on and why are you feeling that way? And she was just kind of letting me know. But then she shifted the conversation and she started talking about my siblings. And she said, well, I really like this about Eric and he's successful and he's doing good. And I said, Mom, can we talk about the qualities and the traits that all of my siblings have? That you love, that you admire. And I was writing these down. So let's just take a note. So she started listing, well, I love Daphne's this and this about her and that about her. And I love this about Eric and this about Nate and this about Angela and this about you. And by the time she was done, we had this huge list of these qualities and traits that my siblings have. And I paused and I looked at her and I said, Mom, do you realize that you helped give these traits to every one of us kids? And she shied away from it. She didn't like that. She was like, no, I don't know. She did not want to see the divinity within herself. She did not want to see the beauty and the amazing gift. It took her a moment. She finally heard it. I don't know how much she actually took it into heart. I would propose or suggest that every one of us do the same thing. What are those traits that you absolutely love and admire, whether it's in people that you associate with or that have been demonstrated to you from the divine? And then I would post that up on the fridge and I would say, guess what? I have every one of those because I am in them and they are in me. We are connected. I have patience. I have kindness. I have the gift of love and awareness and joy that I can share and spread to everyone around me. I really like that game. I really like that idea. And evidently, I'm being told that that's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to take that forward. And I hope and pray that it speaks to you as well, and that you are able to take those thoughts and remind yourself when you're having a rough day and you're feeling like I'm not doing enough for whoever it is, that you pull it back and you recognize that even in you, the past couple of weeks, there have been talks about the challenges in Ukraine, and we have talked about just vibing up, just being a better human here and now, working on your area, the garden that you are within, simply doing that, being kind and spreading more love can affect and vibe up. So I am suggesting that we all recognize those beautiful divine traits. Continue to vibe up, continue to be the best humans that we can possibly be. Find those traits that we love and are so excited to work on emulating, and see where life can go from there. So let's move into a meditation. Feet on the floor, eyes closed. Take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale that breath, you allow your shoulders to sink a little bit. With another deep breath, you can feel your body relaxing into the surface that you are on. You feel yourself let go. And find that calm, beautiful space within you. In that space, allow light. This light comes in and it is a representation of you. So bright, so beautiful. You see that light and you see a golden thread like a giant spider's web goes out, showing the connection between you and your loved ones. This beautiful, strong golden cord. Think of the positive traits that they all share with you. It easily goes back and forth fluidly. Strong, confident, beautiful. Pick out a trait that you have often felt was lacking within yourself. Seek that trait out, find it in this web. See how strong and bright that trait is. Encouraged and nourished by the other people who also share that trait with you. And know that every one of those traits that you feel you are weak in is actually unbelievably strong, thanks to being fostered and nurtured. You are strong too. Let's take another deep breath in. And another one. And we'll come back into this space, into our bodies, into our minds, into our hearts. The surface supporting you, the knowledge that we are together and that we are connected comes with you. You open your eyes and you see all of us together. And you are present. You are alert. You are connected. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. I know that really struck home for me, and I'd imagine it did for many others. Yeah, I think just inadvertently I've started playing that game the last few weeks, but I hadn't thought of it that way. Just in terms of what aspect of myself am I expressing?
Yeah.
The, you know, the one who's really annoyed and just grouchy about everything, or the one who's seeing what's good. So, yeah, and I thank you for putting it in that concept. It was wonderful. I also
Yeah.
feel very good about having my grandsons haul all of my outdoor plants into the basement a couple days ago. It was a great lesson for them.
Yeah. Work ethic. It's fantastic. And I'm so very grateful that my dad taught me that, because I would much rather be a go get 'em than a sit back.
Yeah. And our neighbor 2 doors down just shoveled our walk. And I
Oh,
would have run out, but I didn't want to leave. So miracles happen.
right?
Anyway, thank
Bake them
you.
some cookies.
Good idea. Good idea. So, oh, and I will say if you'd like to know more about Crystal, you can find her at crystaljakosky.com. That is her website, and she has a lot of interesting things going on. So check it out. And now we will take an offering for unity. So, you can contribute through our website, livingwaterunity.org, or by mail through our post office box, or in person the next time we're together. So, as we take our offerings in our hands, we offer this blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. And now, Doug will play for us once again.
I'm going to dig into my little classical fake book archives and play a tune by, is it Jules Massenet, I think is how you pronounce it, simply entitled Meditation. This is from an opera, Thies.
Thank you, Doug. That is a beautiful tune. Loved it. Oh, and yes, we dedicate these tithes to the will and the work of the one Spirit of truth, the Spirit that dwells in each of us, the Spirit that calls all of us. Amen. And I will mention one thing that occurred to me. Daylight savings time ends next Sunday. I think that's something that always needs to be mentioned in churches, and it just occurred to me. Uh, thumbs down for you, huh? Oh, you have a gig the night before. Doug is giving me a thumbs down.
2 gigs on Sunday right after church too. But yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I just
That was
get up.
always
It's already too dark. It's too soon. That's all.
yeah. That was always Clarence's most hated day of the year if you played a bar gig on Saturday night and daylight savings time ended and have to be back at church to play.
No, it ended. It began.
It began.
Yeah.
When it began, excuse me.
Yeah.
So never mind. So thank you to all of you. Thank you for joining us, Crystal. It was a treat to have you. Thank you, Doug, Trinity, and everybody who works for our community and who just participates in it, because that is worth more than anything else I can imagine. I so appreciate your participation. So as we prepare to release our circle and extinguish this flame, we honor the divine light it represents, and we carry that light within us into the world to protect us, to illuminate us, and to guide our actions. And now the peace song. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is and all is well.